So that kind of explains the structure and the thinking and who does what, where, when and why. And it's all kind of daunting to many. But I hope what people will grasp so far is the depths that they will go to controlling all of us. And when people start complaining of why things are not fixed in one night or even 1 year, when you realise that this plan has been ongoing for hundreds of years at least, and possibly at least 2,000 years, and maybe even 6,000 years. So when people get impatient, these people have planned meticulously. To fight back, we have to fight fire with fire and be meticulous also. We have to give our time. We can't just continue to ignore it and hope it goes away and leave just a few globally to eradicate them. They're trained in all fields. We have to match them. We have the numbers, remember. We have the power to overcome them. But do we have the will? This is the only difference between the 99% and the 1%. If we had the will and desire and the courage to end it that they have to control us, then this would be done in a month. The problem we have is too many people refuse to look at it. Oh, I don't like that information. That's horrible, that. I don't want to hear about this and I don't want to hear about that. And I do understand that. This is why over the shows over the last 3 months, it's been more of a psychological nature show. Getting people in a good frame of mind within themselves. Getting them to love themselves. It's not as easy as people think. Most people don't. I've gone through myself for large parts of my life being not loving myself. And it's difficult. This is why going back in May 2015 I started telling people, do your inner work, deal with your shadow sides, because what's coming up will be painful. You suddenly realise, yes, you know there's a lot of lies going around the world, but you have no idea of the layers or the depth of it. How many organisations it involves. It mentions 6 in the last chapter. Churches, lots of religious people don't realise they're being programmed. Banking, media, education. You know, the world's in the last few years, or many of us just waking up to the fact that education is a joke. I knew 40 years ago. Told them so in school. You're teaching crap. So I hope, having listened to that part, you realise the depth of what we're dealing with, and perhaps, whilst it's not our greatest virtue, why patience is required. There's always the option of war, but war will eliminate 80% on both sides. It will also send us back to the Stone Age. That's not a victory. It takes time. Time which we don't like. You know, Paul Drake used to get pilloried for his 2 weeks. If it takes 2 decades, we've done well. some people won't like that idea. But what we're trying to do here is set up a legacy for our children. That's what they're doing. They're setting up the legacy. I mentioned that in the last chapter. They're setting up a legacy for their children to rule. We have to set up a legacy for our children to exist. Different thing. Some of us may not see the end of it. I'm hoping we all do. But we have to have a greater understanding of what we're dealing with. Because you've got people who think removing Obama, or removing Trump, or removing Merkel, or May, or Putin, or any other world leader solves the problem. No. Trump, waste of time. Whilst you've got shadow people in the background pulling strings. I said in an earlier show, you could have the second coming of Christ and insert him into the White House and it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. You have to remove the elements, the hidden elements. The state